Well, the latest report from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics indicating that Nigerian economy slowed by almost 3-point-something%. Many economists are already wondering, if this continues, what will they mean for already troubled economy that seems to be hitting the rocks? Many will say more needs to be done, especially as it concerns our non-oil sector, to see if it can in every way help grow the economy. But anyway, what do you think? I'll tell you to hold on first. We need to welcome you to another lovely time on television. You do know it's Viewpoint and Atlantic TV, and as always, my name remains Michael Gobardio. It's always interesting to be with you on the Mind's a wet, lovely morning, but in respective, we're just trying to see how I can make your day truly awesome and enjoyable being with us. But you know, I'm never alone, especially when it's that interesting to be with you. I have my colleague here, Patience Monday, in a very wet Tuesday. Patience, good morning to you. Well, indeed, it's a cold Tuesday morning, and it's raining.
Of course, it's really cold and wet.
Wet it is. Well, anyway, we'll see how I'll make it warm for them.
Okay. Maybe we'll check out on Daily Sun.
Okay.
If it will be sunny later in the day.
Maybe.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. And you know, on Viewpoint, we begin with the dailies and move straight to dialogue. And then the news come around. Do you want to connect with us on our social media platform of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV. We'll go on this quick break. When we return, the dailies will be next.
Atlantic TV.
Well, the dailies would definitely take center stage right here, right now. And for review today, as always, we have 7 papers. We do have The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian. We do have Nigerian Tribune, Daily Sun, Daily Trust, and also The Nation. But let's see if we'll start off with The Punch as usual, and let's see what The Punch has as a major on its front page. On The Punch this morning, the leading story reads, Dangote faces price war as NNPC backs fuel import. And writers to follow, NNPC urges courts to dismiss Dangote's suit. Marketers backs competition won against monopoly risks, and refinery says import license undermine local production. But anyway, it's a full wrap, and I'll tell you to read up that story up on page 2, and you get all that concerns that very leading story. Fubara exit from governorship race aligned with peace path, according to Wike on page 18. Eid. Federal government declares holidays set up security nationwide, which is quite paramount, and you can get that on page 12. Do we still have any major one that concerns the front page of the Punch? Yes, we do. INEC appeals ruling voiding primaries is a major one on page 18. Federal government cancels $717 million World Bank power loan amid blackout. And honestly, it is black outside. But page 35 has a story. Bandit kidnap Kwara Monarch's family, attack police station. This is a sad, disturbing one on page 12. We learned it was really more like a free day for them yesterday. And sometimes you wonder, where's the security? My brother beheading haunts me daily, or your teacher's sibling is telling us that on page 3. Quite really sad to say. And Southwest Insecurity, Ogboho awaits federal government not to launch outfits. And well, it looks as if he said he's ready for it. And page 12 has a story. But the picture of the day is that of directors and trustees of the STL Trustees Limited. And during at the 30th anniversary gala of the STL Trustees Limited in Lagos. And honestly, that picture was taken last week, Friday. But that's as much we can take from the Punch.
Let's check out stories making around on the Guardian newspaper this morning. And on the Guardian, the leading story reads, Court ruling, INEC's appeal leaves opposition and aggrieved politicians limbo. It's on page 6 and still on the front page. Opposition says Tinubu's 10.9 million votes claim doesn't reflect political reality. You can get that on page 3. Nigeria's economy grows 3.89% rather in first quarter as electricity contracts by 15.3%. Is on page 19. Nigeria signed MOU with Tokyo for solid mineral development. You can get that up on page 3. Still on the front page, let's look and get more of the leading stories. Eid Kabir, military assures residents of safety amid Boko Haram ISWAP attacks fears. Is on page 9. AON debunk owing NCAA seek ends to airlines collection of 5% TSC. It's more of a business story on page 22. Hajj, Nigerians move to Araf as unrest high fuel cost push ram prices to 1.2 million naira. Here's a major one on page 3. NISA predicts 5.02% gross domestic product growth, single-digit inflation rate by 2028. Is on page 8. That Traore's military alternative to flawed democracy is more of an editorial on page 16. And the picture of the day, there seems to be 3 major ones, but we're taking the second one, is that of the 80th meeting of the Financial Service Regulation Coordinating Committee held at the CBN head office in Abuja yesterday. Well, that's much you can take on the Guardian this morning.
Well, let's quickly run to the Nation and see what the Nation has as a leading one on its front page. On the Nation this morning, INEC appeal verdict avoiding timeline of party register as electoral agency asks court for stay of execution. Okay, well, you can just read a whole lot of riders, but I'll implore you to continue that story up on page 2. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Nation this morning. Why court favors DSS in defamatory suit against Serap is a major one on page 20. Money Points Group launches 3 billion naira innovation hub in universities. And honestly, that's a good way to go. But anyway, just go to Nation, grab a copy of it on page 8. 1.5 million pilgrims of Hajj on Mount Arafat as Wiki knocks Fubara for picking nomination form. Both of those stories you can get on page 27 and 6 of the Nation newspaper. Article leads Amechi Yatudin in ADC shadow election. And why that is so, you can get that story up on page 3. Let's see if we take some other leading stories here on the front page of the Nation this morning. APC begins post-primary poll reconciliation. And I feel they have a lot of work as it concerns that of Delta State. A really lot of reconciliation will need to follow. And Nigerian-Turkey seal deal on solid minerals is a solid story on page 2. But the picture of the day is, okay, yeah, we still have one. Kwara to deploy drones against bandits and terrorists is on page 28. And Wednesday, Thursdays are Eid holidays. Baraka de Salah to our Muslim brothers and sisters on page 6. Well, anyway, the picture of the day is that of continuous security engagement. Kwara State Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak left and Chief of Armed Staff Lieutenant General Shaibu after a meeting on strategies to strengthen security in Kwara State. But funny enough, that meeting was held in Abuja just yesterday. That's the much you can take from the Nation.
Let's check out stories making it to the headline of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And on the Nigerian Tribune, let's take some leading ones still on the front page. The leading one on the front page this morning, INEC appeals election guidelines judgment seeks stay of execution is on page 15. Nigeria's gross domestic product growth rate slows to 3.89%, says MBS. Bandit invade Kwara community, raise Emite Palace, abducts 10. As a disturbing one on page 26. And still on the front page, seems to be a major one talking about a toast to President Tinubu, who the cap fits. Well, this is coming from Tantito Security Service Nigeria Limited. And with that, I think that's a major one on the front page of the Nigeria Tribune this morning. And that's a major one we can take on the Nigerian Tribune.
Well, is it sunny? I don't know. Let's go to Daily Sun, though. And on Daily Sun this morning, the leading story reads, tension as gunmen adopt 10 from Emir's Palace in Kwara. Raise police station terrorist planning attack on Northeast during Eid Kabir and military warns. And that warning, it's more you need to get on page 4 of the Daily Sun. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Sun this morning. Ojukwu did not reject peace deal in 1967. Igbo Forum fought Gowon on page 27. Security risks. Presidency urges temporary suspension of Irioke. Prayers in Kwara and Kogi. And you do know it's because of the security risks. But anyway, don't just secure that story up on page 4 of the Daily Sun. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Daily Sun this morning. INEC appeal election guidelines, 6th day of execution is on page 8. Celebration of Unilag as UBA unveils innovation hub is also a screamer on page 2. It looks as if more of the financial institutions are making innovation hub, especially in our varsities. Wike Islam Fubara for seeking second term, says form collection broke impeachment truce. Says remodeling of Abuja City Gate, brainchild of First Lady. Well, anyway, page 8 has that story. AON denies owing cost recovery charges to NCAA, wants regulator to commence direct collection of TSC from June 1st of 2026. But I'll tell you to get that story up on page 25 rather. The picture of the day is that of the representation of the General Corporate Affairs Commission, the CAC, and with a whole lot of other dignitaries as it concerns the financial sector. You can see that of the CBN governor, all of them after the meeting of the Financial Service Regulatory Coordinating Committee in Abuja just yesterday. That's the much we can take from the Daily Sun.
Trust in having a good time here on Daily this morning as we look at Daily Trust. And on Daily Trust, the leading story reads, bandit attack Emira's palace, wives, children, and others kidnapped is a disturbing one on page 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust. Still on the front page, 2027, Jonathan knows fate on eligibility today is on page 8. ADC to announce presidential candidate at 3.4 million members votes. Can get up that story on page 7. Senator Buba emerged PRP governorship candidate in Bauchi, promises 80,000 naira minimum wage. Well, is a major one on page 10. Still on the front page, let's see if we can get more of the leading story. Still on the front page of the Daily Trust. Why Abuja-Kaduna road gridlock persists? Well, I don't know. You can get up that story on page 5. Cleaner bags 20 years for killing boyfriend. Wow.
Wow.
Is a major
There's always a thin line between love and hate. Now you understand.
And he's bagging 20 years for killing boyfriend.
Yeah.
Or you can get more of that story on page 29. INEC appeals judgment on the filing guidelines for party primaries and others.
Yeah.
Is on page 6. Supply shortage, high depot prices shoot up gas price. Is on page 19. And the picture of the day is none other than that of our Muslim brothers and sisters traveling for Eid Kabir, seen at the motor park across all states yesterday. Well, that's much we can take on Daily Trust this morning.
Let's quickly run to the Vanguard, the last paper for us to review right here on an awesome Tuesday wet morning. On the Vanguard this morning, the lead story reads, opposition parties in disarray as factional candidates emerge. And we're still talking about the 2027 presidency. SDP, ADC, PDP caught in the web. Result of PRP, ADC primaries ready today. Atiku favored to pick ADC ticket, gets endorsement from states. And you can get that story up on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Vanguard. Nigerian GDP growth rate rises to 3.89% in first quarter. Is it rises or drop? Anyway, all of these will take center stage on Dialogue later today. But I'll just tell you to read up that story on page 19. Intervene in mass killings of Nigerians rather than rhetorics, PFN tells federal government. Worry constituency delineation. Thugs attack protesting Ishekiri youth at INEC headquarters is quite a disturbing one on page 7. INEC appeal judgment voiding timeline for 2027 polls is also a screamer on page 9. Remember, we looked at this last week, and anyway, our guest said there was no basis of appealing, but let's see what happens. But just read it up right there on the front page of the Vanguard. Oyo school kidnap. Government under pressure as adopters demand ransom. We will not spare resources to rescue victims, Makinde. Family of beheaded teacher demands recovery of body. And honestly, well, that very disturbing story is on page 10. Pope apologizes for Vatican role in justifying slavery. It's a major one on page 8. Eid, federal government declares Wednesday, Thursday public holidays. Hooray! Then you can get that on page 33. NCAA, airlines operators bicker over debt is a major one on page 8. And let's see if we just relax our bodies and get more humor. And then anyway, let's go to Mr. and Mrs. Column. As usual, ladies first. He displayed these emotions that's not too deep to be considered love. I think he's just crushing on me. and Mr. So that's what crushing on someone means.